Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's another beautiful day, and I hope all is well with our listeners and our peers, those who are participating in the analyze this today. Um, Before we jump on to what we're going to be discussing today, I just want to bring this good news that we are going to start our Leadership Academy not this Friday, but the following Friday. And I will give out the dates and the time um, when everything is set and ready. Um, we 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 are ready to go. We are ready to start the Leadership Academy, and I want to appreciate and thank you for your patience and uh, your wait. It's the wait is almost over. We're about to start Leadership Academy. It's about time. Alrighty. So, as usual, I want to go into our usual statement that creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. I know somebody might be asking, why do you repeat this statement every time you're about to start broadcasting? Yes, because if you understand how the brain works, if you understand the power of the brain, you would get to know that the more you hear something, the more you process that information, the more it gets into the psychic of your brain, and the more it gets into your subconsciousness, the more you begin to believe it. It forms your belief system. And after it forms your belief system, you begin to act it out. That is why we keep saying this. And we will continue to say it over and over and over that creativity is not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So it is very naive for somebody to attribute some level of creativity to the color of one's skin. Sometimes in our local certains, when I say local certains, I'm talking about the African or the Ghanaian certains where you hear people saying like, oh, the white man is so amazing. In the white man's wisdom, he did that. In the white man's wisdom, he did that. And I'm like, where in the brain is it written that this brain is for a white man and this brain is for a black man? You see, it is because of our um the state of our mind, which we've been made to believe, we've been enslaved mentally. And until we break those shackles from our minds, I always tell people, you were never a slave if your mind was not enslaved. You could be in shackles. You could be worked to do stuff against your will. You could be forced to labor in vain without any payment against your will. You are still not in slavery. If your mind is not in shackles, you are a free man because you are able to think and make choices based on the way you think. Anyway, that's not what we were talking about. So I'm going to leave that for now. But creativity is not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So educate your mind, irrespective of the color of your skin, and you'll be able to create, you'll be able to invent. Alrighty. On this platform, we entertain divergent opinions, but we don't entertain insults. So if you have any divergent opinions, we would be um, accommodating enough to discuss them because exactly that is what this platform is for. It is meant for us to discuss opinions, so we'll be able to educate ourselves, enlighten ourselves in order for us to be equipped to change our communities and our environment. So that is why we are here. So if you have a divergent opinion, we encourage you to table it. It is important. With that being said, today is going to be brief and short. Um, I want to zoom into what we're going to be discussing today. I would be talking primarily about the cleaning of the cities in Ghana. I believe a couple of weeks back, the mayor, the newly elected mayor, um, or appointed mayor in Kumasi, KMA, was interviewed, and he made a statement about the fact that one of his priorities is to clean up the cities of Kumasi. And I believe the mayor, the 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 Accra mayor also has a similar agenda. And it's a beautiful agenda, similar views. They want to clean up the cities. They want to make those cities clean and habitable, um, which is a very laudable idea, beautiful idea. Um, and I believe this has been the, um, I should say, the ideas of most of the past governments who've passed and gone have had these ideas, because I believe that the previous mayor also decided to do same, started to clean up the city, and before that mayor was a mayor who also decided to clean up the cities. It's been almost decades where mayor after mayor decides to clean up the city. They are faced with this daunting task, and they fail, basically. They're not successful in what they set out to do, in cleaning up the cities. And so one of the things that came to mind when I heard the mayors being interviewed and the exercises they've undertaken so far, um, makes me start to question their leadership gifts or qualities, if you will. As of now, one may ask, why do you question their leadership gift? Because it's a laudable thing to clean up the cities. It's a beautiful thing to do. It's a good plan and all that. But my thing is, you ask yourself, it's been years, mayor after mayor after mayor, trying to get rid of this canker, so to speak, in our cities, and they all weren't successful. And I can say for a fact, including these mayors, the current mayors, they're not going to be successful in that regards. You see, somebody might be thinking, oh, they would be able to clean up the cities by pushing the people away, by asking the people to leave, or forcefully removing the people from the streets. And the thing is, ad hoc measures don't solve problems. I want to repeat myself. Ad hoc measures don't solve problems. The reason I'm questioning their leadership skill is, have they sat down to analyze all the previous mayors who planned to get rid of filth, who planned to clean up the cities, push the people out of the streets and all that, who weren't successful? What made them unsuccessful? Somebody might be thinking, if they had not done that, how would you know? I know, because they are following in the same footprints of all the mayors. When you want to solve a problem, when you have a canker like what we have in our cities, people encroaching the main roads, the people would not sell at the appropriate places where they're supposed to be selling, people selling on the streets, which is endangered, lives being endangered by their actions, the failed in the cities and all that. It's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. It's not a beautiful sight to behold. But one may ask, what is the root cause? You can never solve a problem, or you can never fulfill the purposes of a problem. I want to repeat myself. You can never fulfill the purposes of a problem if you adopt an ad hoc measure or an ad hoc attitude to solving a problem. You may be successful momentarily, but you can never be successful in the long run. And which one are we looking at? I know Prof would always say that the question we should be asking ourselves is what kind of society do we want to create and live in? Do we want to solve problems perpetually, or we want to solve problems temporarily? These are some of the questions we should be asking ourselves. And so I remember in those days when we have the abaye, you see the authorities coming and people will rush off the streets, and they would come break tables and move the people forcefully, seize goods and words and what have you, and find the people. And within the next hour after they leave, they start encroaching the streets again. And recently, there have been activities in both Kumasi and in Accra. And immediately after the people have been forced off the streets, um, give it a day, they come back. And I keep asking myself, where are the leadership of our times? Where is the leadership of our times? Because the leadership will think through a problem, will take into consideration the culture of the people, the attitude of the people, what caused the problem. And if you want to solve the problem, you bring a consensus. You have to sit with the people who created the problem. You have to get into their minds to understand why they created the problem. And then you go back to the drawing board, design a plan, a program that would help alleviate the problem, not momentarily, but would alleviate the problem for a longer period of time, if not forever. And I don't see that being done here. You see, it's not about the force with which you come to move the people up. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. And I'm saying this now, you can quote me anywhere. It is not gonna work. Why? Because there is no plan to the cleanliness of the city. And I can tell that right away by coming to force the people out. So why are the people encroaching the streets in the first place? You should be asking yourself that question. Why is the city filthy in the first place? You should be asking yourself that question. You see, people are not going to be disciplined until they are guided by laws and rules. That's one thing we got to understand. Naturally, every human being wants the least road travel, does not want the least road travel. Every human being does not want the least road traveled. Every human being wants a very comfortable way of doing things. The habitual way of doing things. Oh, it was done by my great grandfathers this way. It was done by my grandfathers this way. It was done by my fathers this way. It was, and it's being done by me this way. And it's going to be done same way by my children and my children's children. And then the trend and the tradition continues. You see, but if we want to pause and want to solve the problem, we got to go to the roots of the problem. In the first place, the designs of our city is helping to create the very problems we are seeing. The designs of our cities is part of the problems. I was talking to somebody the other time and I said, look, if you take a place like Carnation Market, the idea brilliant and was built by one of the um, leaders I have come to appreciate lately, um, 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 General Kutu Acheampong. Brilliant idea, building a beautiful marketplace to house the market people. It will be a place, a go-to place for people to go and do their shopping. We call it one-stop shop. You can get everything you want to get in the place, and then you come out and but the sighting was poor, very poor. Why? Because it was too close to a major road, too close to a major road. And if the sighting had to be there because lack of probably a better site to put up the market, then the design or the plan was poorly executed. Because anybody from the market can just walk onto the streets. And so now people are going to make it easy for people to shop by bringing their wares to the street. So the shopper does not have to go park and walk into the market to shop. The shopper can just buy from the streets and keep on moving. So when you're planning the siting of markets, planning our towns, all of these things needs to be taken into consideration. The culture of the people needs to be taken into consideration. How best can we navigate through these cultural practices in order to create a clean city? You see, I keep telling people, and I know some people might have a different opinion, which is all right, and we can discuss that human beings are not meant to be suppressed. Sometimes I hear some very gullible statements from people saying, "Oh, as for the African, you need an iron hand to rule over, to control over." Yes, to rule over, yeah, you might need an iron hands, but if you want to govern, you don't need iron hands to rule over no human being. And I want to repeat, if you want to govern, you don't need iron hands to rule over no human beings. You need laws. And the laws, one, had to be imbibed into the people. Two, after you imbibe the laws into the people for them to understand why certain things are supposed to be done in a certain way, you have to enforce the laws. And these are the things missing in most of the African communities. One, we don't imbibe the laws into the people. We don't even explain these laws to you. You have to start from the school age, the primary stages of schooling. That is where you educate the kid to understand why I have to do this. What is the reason behind this particular law? Why do I have to obey this law? And so if you make the kid understand the laws, they will begin to grow understanding these laws, cultivating these laws, making them proud of themselves, and then they will begin to act out according to the guidance of those laws. So, one, we don't do that. And two, we don't enforce the laws as well. We have so many beautiful laws on our status books, none of them works. We don't enforce them. You see, I was talking to somebody, a very good friend of mine the other time, and I was like, I get I get disturbed when I think about some of the beautiful laws our forefathers put in place, but they shrouded them in mystery. That is my worry. You make people fear. You see, I don't know why we have this concept that it has, you make people afraid. Anytime you make a people afraid, it means you want to control the people. You want to take undue advantage of the people. Anytime somebody presents a program that will instill fear in a people, it means the person wants to control the people. Our forefathers had beautiful ideas about forest preservation, water preservation, the rivers, and all that beautiful things, but they shrouded these beautiful laws of nature in mystery. And so it scared the people away. But the moment the people gets to understand and know that it does not necessarily going to be what they told them it was going to be, then they begin to violate the law. So when you instill fear in a people and they believe in the fear, the day they realize that they can circumvent that fear, you are doomed. And that's exactly what some of the laws, the beautiful laws our forefathers put in place, meant to do. Do not go to the forest on this day. Do not farm on these days. They were all meant to make the forest rest. Land tenure system. Let the land rest. Certain days we're preserving the cleanliness of the river. You don't do this in the river on certain days. Let people understand these are laws of nature. Don't shroud them in mystery. And so the day they demystify that mystery, that law is thrown in the garbage. So coming back to the cleanliness of the city, I want to see some leadership prevailing here. The planning of our cities. Even if we have to replan the city, we need to devise a strategy to replan the cities. Go back to the drawing board. And so the discussion I had with my friend concerning the Canadian market, he said, you know what? When the Canadian market was built, Ghana's population was this. And I said, that is the problem. That is part of the problem. If you're planning a city, you project and anticipate in the next 10 years, the people are going to be X number. In the next 20 years, the people are going to be X number. You project, and so you take all of that into consideration when you're planning a city. And so, first of all, the city planners are part of the problems. This is a free discussion. And I believe, and I want to think that these people they have good intent to clean up the cities. And if they do, please listen to what I'm saying and consider it. The planning of the cities, number one, is wrong. You put a market close to a major road without any restrictions. Number two, we don't educate the people enough to understand the laws governing our cities. And so, like I said from the beginning, we educate people, we imbibe the laws into into the hearts and the minds of the people. And then number two, we enforce these laws. You don't put fear. Some people would say you need the fear of God into the African in order to be successful in ruling over the African. This is I want to be charitable with my word, but this is utterly nonsense. It has no sense to it. If you study the attributes of a human behavior, you come to understand that you don't force, you don't need any hand of God. Anytime you have a hand of God or the fear of God, if you instill the fear of God in quotes into the people, the day they come to understand that that fear, that law is out, but rather instill the discipline of that law into the people. Imbibe the discipline of that law into the people. So they come to understand that law and they come to understand that it's part of their human living. If they want to live successfully, they have to live by these laws. That's number two. Number three, let me separate these two: the cleanliness of the city, of people encroaching the main roads or encroaching the streets, and the cleanliness of the city by getting rid of the garbage and all the stench in the city. I'm taking the stench in the city. When I went to Ghana, I I was walking with my kids, and I had a water bottle in my hands, an empty water bottle, that I was looking for a garbage can to drop the water bottle in it. We walked for quite a distance. Not one single garbage can was found in sight. You see, areas where people are shopping, areas where you have market, you have people coming to conduct and transact businesses. There are certain things you need in those areas. And one of them is trash cans. One of them is trash cans. And so if you provide trash cans within certain radius, it makes it easy for people to abide by that law. You make it easy for people to abide by that law. And so if you don't provide the trash cans, how do you expect not all the people are understand that law? Not all the people understand that law to keep that trash with them until they get to a safe place to dispose of the trash. Some people don't understand it. And so they want to drop it anywhere they want to. So then it goes back to education. If you write from our schools, what are we teaching the kids? I remember when we were in school, we were being taught that cleanliness is next to godliness. So you want to be clean because you want to be godly. We need to imbibe the laws into the hearts and the minds of the people. Number one. Number two, We need to make sure there are certain provisions. Let us design our cities in a way that it will help us keep the cleanliness and maintain law and order in our cities. These people travel outside. The mayors, the governors, the board of directors, the president, the people in authority in most of the African countries, they travel outside and they see how cities are planned. Let us do that. That is one aspect of the problem. The second aspect of the problem, which I'll be wrapping up this whole discussion, and I'll continue next week, is even the creation of a space or a spot for these people to sell. You see, when you make it easy for people to just buy from the roadside, it's going to be easy for the sellers to sell by the roadside. And like I said, human beings are meant to survive. We have to live. We have to survive. And so if people are doing stuff and they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, but they're being forced to do it, you're not going to get the best results out of them. You can achieve success temporarily, momentarily. You achieve success. You clean up the city for a day or for a weekend. The next week, the people are back on the streets because we're not solving the problem from the roots. We're solving the problem from the stem. On this note, I'd want to close the curtains for today's Analyze This. Next week, we're going to continue with where the problem is. We made mention of education, number one. Number two, the planning of our cities. And next week, we're going to continue with number three. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the cleaning of the city. So if you know any of these authorities who are trying to clean up the cities in Accra or in Mombasa or wherever in Africa, send these videos to them and let them listen. Let them be a part of this discussion. Let them hop on and let's discuss this because we need to clean our cities. We need to make Accra, Nairobi, Luanda, Kumasi, wherever we need to make these cities clean for human habitation. Because sometimes these dirt and filth breed unnecessary sicknesses that could have been avoided. And these sicknesses take people out unnecessarily. So please, we need to clean up our cities, but we got to do it right. We got to do it the right way. So we'll have a lasting solution to the problems facing our cities. Thank you so much for being a part of Leadership Academy. Analyze this today. I have Leadership Academy in mind, which is going to come in the next 2 weeks. So please stay tuned. Next week, same time, we're going to continue with this, the cleanliness of our cities in Accra and Kumasi and any of the cities in Africa as a whole. Thank you so much. My name, Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Africa International Organization and Serto Leadership International. Next week, same time, we're going to be here to continue the discussion. Catch you on the flip side. Share the video. Let those who matter, let those who want to make a change, let those who want to impact their communities hear and be a part of the discussion the next time. Don't keep it to yourself. Until then, I'll say adios. See you next week. Bye-bye.